Hey, this is Evan Brand back with another video talking about Nutrition 201. Now, if you haven't seen the last video, Nutrition 101, definitely click below to check that one out, or just look on my YouTube channel, you'll find it. These are some of the other things that are really important for people that have already delved into the world of nutrition. They think they have a good grip on things and they just need help to make their nutrition program a little bit tighter. So that's what my goal is with this video. So starting out, fruit in moderation. Now, I love pineapple. It's so delicious. It contains bromelain, which is a proteolytic enzyme that's very helpful for healing gums. When I got my wisdom teeth out, if you guys have had experience with that, it's pretty awful. And something that I used in my recovery program was a lot of arnica, which is a natural anti-inflammatory and healing agent, as well as a lot of pineapple because of that bromelain. Now, that was a special scenario where I use it, but typically I try to stay away from those high sugar fruits like that, mangoes, apples, grapes. Some of the apples like Granny Smith are going to be a lot lower in sugar, but I mainly just recommend you stick to berries, just because berries are a fruit that hasn't been hybridized that much. So basically what hybridization is, this is not genetic modification, it's different. So basically hundreds or thousands of years ago, someone's going to take this little wild berry. If you've ever been out foraging for wild berries, you would know this, but you've seen the little tiny wild berries that you'll find out in the forest, and basically they would take these and they would combine that with another berry that's either bigger or sweeter, and then you just keep blending the genetics of these plants together, creating a hybrid. Eventually you get something like a strawberry that is almost as big as your hand, and it tastes like sugar. It's just a big ball of sugar that is called fruit. So people that are trying to lose weight, they typically are eating a lot of fruit because they've been told, yeah, eat lots more fruit and vegetables, right? Well, typically it's very easy to overdo it when it comes to the fruit compared to vegetables. So that's why I say stick with berries. My favorites are definitely going to be, I almost need my blue marker, but since I don't have it with me, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. So these are my favorite: blue, black, raspberries. These have different profiles inside of them of different antioxidants and different compounds that kind of make these fruits what they are. So that's why it's good to have a variety. Now, these are typically going to be some of your lowest sugar fruits that haven't really been altered with as much as a lot of our other modern day foods. If you want to make smoothies with these, fine. You know, something I really like to do with fruit is to freeze it. So I'll just buy organic frozen blueberries. Tons of different places have these now. I mean, it's insane. Target. I've even went to Walmart just to explore and see what they have there. They even have their own brand of organic blueberries. So there you go. There's almost no excuse not to have organic berries these days. I'll take some of those and I'll just put them in a bowl. Take a little bit of some almond milk and just pour it over that, or you could do a little bit of coconut milk or hemp milk. Pick your favorite nut milk of choice and just eat it. It's like a frozen blueberry cereal ice cream or something. It's delicious. It's a great snack. Obviously, if you're adding in a little bit of fat to that, it's going to be even better. Pour a little bit of cinnamon on top of that. It's going to help support your blood sugar, so it sounds really good. All right, number 2, so pink salt or other mineral-rich source. Now, pink salt is the Himalayan salt. You may have seen that. I know Trader Joe's carries it. I'm a big fan of them because they have the convenient little Himalayan pink salt grinder. TJ Maxx and all these other companies now are starting to have these random jars. Your local grocery store probably has a jar or some sort of bag of pink Himalayan salt. This is just mined from the mountains. Contains a lot of different trace minerals, things that you're not going to get from your regular table salt. So if you look at the ingredients on your table salt, say your Morton's or your typical low quality table salt, it's going to have sodium chloride and iodide added to it. That's why it says iodized salt, because back in the early days of the 1900s, when we were not educated about the importance of iodine, we were just getting straight synthetic sodium chloride. And so what happened was just as, think of that as like a greater than symbol. I'm just going to put greater than table salt just so you know what we're talking about here. So what happened is, when we were not getting this natural source of iodine, a lot of people started having goiter. So they were having these huge chins and throats because they were having a problem with the thyroid. Now, this is something that eventually we caught on to when we started adding iodine back into our salt, which is why you see iodized salt. Well, there's no need to add something synthetic like that to your salt if you're getting a good pink salt or other mineral-rich source. Now, there's another kind that I like that's called real salt, and I believe that one comes out of Utah. That's some sort of untouched, undiscovered until recently type of, I want to say it was like a lake bed or something like that. Sorry, I should have remembered their history, but I know real salt is a good quality salt that I also like because it's rich in minerals and it's natural and it has tons of other things that are going to help you, and it makes your food taste good. So you can use that. You're not really going to overdo it with salt. I mean, obviously, if you're going to drink a gallon of water that has like a pound of salt in it or something, that's not a good idea. But typically, you can safely take a pinch of salt and throw that on top of your veggies. You could even throw that in your water in the morning with a little bit of lemon and help support the adrenal glands. Check out the video on adrenal fatigue if you haven't already. All right, let's move on. Number 3, meat variety. Now, too many times I've seen women that come into the clinic and I look at their food journal and it's just nothing but chicken breast, chicken salad, chicken this, chicken that. It's like, man, chicken gets boring. And typically it has way too low fat to help you burn fat. So remember, the more fat that you eat, the more fat that you're able to burn. When you're eating a low-fat diet, and I know many of women and men out there watching that have had experience with this, low-fat diets cause you to gain fat. Well, why? Well, because the body thinks that it's starving to death. It's thinking, wow, hunting is not good right now. I don't know when the next time we're going to get some good quality fat is, so I'm going to hold on to as much body fat as I can. Now, when you start adding in your good fats, your different types of meats, your coconut oil, your butter, things like that, the body says, oh, wow, hunting is great. Let's go ahead and burn the rest of this fat off. That's why you can stay lean year-round eating a moderate to high-fat diet. All right, so I'd really like to see some meat variety in some of my clients' diet just because I want them to get exposed to these good quality and delicious animal proteins, but because it has a unique, different fat and protein profile that you're not going to find with chicken. So bison, elk, and dark chicken meat. These are kind of my 3 meat varieties that I like to see people get exposed to if they can. These are beautiful, majestic animals, bison and elk. I mean, we're really lucky that the United States government did not fully exterminate the bison back in the 1800s. What they were trying to do with bison is they were trying to kill as many bison off as they could because they wanted to starve the Native Americans of their food source. So they had this huge bison extermination plan that where bison were almost extinct in the year 1890. I believe there was about 100, 200. I mean, how hard is it to measure back then? It sounds incredibly hard to measure the number, but estimates were in the hundreds of bison left when there used to be 30 to 60 million bison animals in this country. So really sad story and really unfortunate, but a lot of bison farms are starting to open up and bison ranches where these animals are, still federally protected in terms of not having antibiotics or hormones added to them. So you don't necessarily have to have it say organic pasture-raised bison. You can assume that it's going to be a good quality meat due to the federal regulations that are on that type of meat. Same thing with elk. A lot of people are having good quality elk be found at the grocery store. There's a company called Durham Ranch. They supply elk meat to Lucky's Market, which is where I pick up mine. I just get a brick of frozen ground elk and it's delicious. I find it to be sweeter and better tasting than bison, which I think is better than grass-fed beef. So to me, these are the 2 meats on top of the food chain in terms of taste and good macronutrient profiles, meaning they have a good quality, good quantity rather, of fat and protein. Lastly, dark meat chicken. So if you want to do a rotisserie chicken, that's going to be great. It's going to be helpful to eat that skin if you know it's a good quality chicken. It's got a lot of different nutrients there. So moving on here, bone broth. Now, a lot of people may be freaked out at the idea of taking a big crock pot and getting some bones from your farmer and putting those into a crock pot, and it's kind of smelly and it's not the cutest thing in the world, but it's incredibly important for gut health just because bone broth is going to be rich in glycine. What is that? I think I was like trying to draw an arrow and then it just went crazy. Let's like do it like that. All right, so glycine. It's going to be really rich in that as well as glutamine and a lot of other amino acids that are really helpful for your joints. So all you joint pain people out there that are typically going to just be using things like NSAIDs, like aspirin and Advil, you could just go for bone broth, and it's going to be very helpful. Getting some anti-inflammatory nutrients in, that's going to be helpful too. So bone broth, there's another brand. Let me try to... All right, so Pacific, I love you guys. So Pacific is a company that has cardboard boxes, for lack of, I think it's some type of cardboard paper type thing. They have these little small boxes of store-bought bone broth, and they come in a little small one for about $2. They come in big ones. They even have bison broth, which I just purchased and I haven't tried it yet. So thank you, Pacific. If anybody that is affiliated with Pacific comes across this video, thumbs up. You guys are doing a great job providing exactly what I need for my clients that are not going to go out and do the work to make the bone broth. You go to Whole Foods and you buy it for a couple bucks. Kombucha. So kombucha, it's a fermented tea. It has a lot of naturally occurring B vitamins. It's really helpful for energy. So that's why sometimes if you've been drinking some kombucha, you may feel, woo, kind of peppy. Yeah, I feel good. Getting those B vitamins. So kombucha, I say moderation and sugar. Those are my two notes about kombucha that I wanted to talk to you about, because there's a lot of companies out there that turn kombucha back into almost like a pseudo soda, because it can have 15, 20, even 30 grams of sugar in one bottle of kombucha. That's crazy. That kind of defeats the purpose. So you really want to take a look at your sugar content when you are drinking kombucha. My favorite brand is the Synergy. They also call it GT Dave's sometimes. I really like that brand. I think they're out of Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. So they've been around for a while. They're very, very popular. You're going to find them everywhere compared to some of these local kombuchas that you may find in your local city or your grocery store. But they're really low in sugar, sometimes 2 to 4 grams per bottle. Really good quality. So highly recommend them. Like I said, moderation, because I've had some clients that are drinking 5 or 6 bottles of kombucha a day. That's crazy. I mean, you're replacing, say, a Diet Pepsi 6 a day with 6 a day kombucha. It's definitely better, but still, you don't want to overdo it with that. I've actually seen some clients that have had some yeast type issues, because kombucha is a yeast. It's a fermented, what they call a SCOBY, this thing that just kind of sits on top here. It's kind of ferments your tea and everything and makes this kombucha. Obviously, sometimes you'll see those little floaters. Well, that is a type of yeast, and if you have any type of yeast overgrowth or any type of bacterial things that are not supposed to be going on in your gut, adding that kombucha in could be feeding and exacerbating that problem. So definitely be careful. Limit your kombucha. I'd say a bottle or 2 a week is going to be fine. Unless you just want to spend 30, 40, 50 bucks a week on kombucha, then go for it. All right, next, dark chocolate. Now, I'm a big fan of dark chocolate, 70%. I know I'm getting like pushed out of the frame here, so I'll scoot over here. 70% cacao is going to be your best choice, just because you want to make sure that you're getting enough cacao in there, because you don't want necessarily the milk chocolate. That's just not really going to offer too much. Cacao, it's got a lot of benefits to raw cacao. So the note that I did make here is copper symptoms. Now you definitely want to watch out for copper symptoms. There's a video on that, but I'm just going to write here emotional as kind of the generic, wide, broad spectrum symptom that happens when you have a lot of copper, because dark chocolate is rich in copper, especially when you're going up with the high quality ones. So you definitely, if you're an over emotional person, you may want to limit your dark chocolate. Smart snacks. So we have meat bars. Now, why do I put smart snacks? Well, a lot of people, they go for carbohydrates. When you think of snacks, a lot of people may think of pretzels and cheese and crackers and some of these things that just don't really provide that much nutrition and are definitely not going to provide satiety. You're not going to feel full from most snacks. So that's why I put smart snacks. Now typically I like my clients to be able to eat one good meal, and one good meal, maybe a 4th meal in there, but typically if you're needing to snack in between your meals, you're not getting enough of these good meats, you're not getting enough good fat and protein in there to keep you full in between meals. So if you do need snacks, say you and I are working on healing your blood sugar, if you have some up and downs all day, like a lot of people do, then we may talk about some smart snack options, such as meat bars. So Epic Bars, they are out of Austin, Texas. Really cool company, have a lot of good quality bars. They even branched out into the jerky market recently. They have chicken jerky and all sorts of other cool things like that. So highly recommend checking out some of their meat bars. You have just beef jerky in general, so you definitely want to watch out for MSG, monosodium glutamate, a flavoring agent that's added to a lot of generic and cheap quality beef jerkies. So always look for organic grass-fed beef whenever possible when it comes to getting beef jerky. Once again, there's bison, elk, jerky, things like that. Definitely watch out for your sodium nitrates, these type of compounds that just should not be in those meats. Nuts. So I'm a big fan of pistachios. It's always fun to crack them open. I don't really recommend getting the pistachios that do not have the shell on them because you're more likely to just take a handful and overeat those. And nuts are a lot of, it's a high calorie food. Now I don't count calories, but for women that are trying to lose weight, if they have some pistachio addiction, they're eating them by the bag, you can definitely stall your weight loss progress by eating too many nuts. So shakes. Talked about that in a previous video about why I'm a fan of real food over shakes, but I do like a shake in between meals every now and then if I've had a long hike or I've just exhausted myself and I need to replenish myself. I'll come back over here, I'll add some blueberries in with some grass-fed whey protein, maybe throw some collagen or some colostrum in there, throw a little bit of cinnamon in there with some almond milk, blend it up and drink it. It's an incredible shake. There's actually a smoothie recipe. If you go back to my website, notjustpaleo.com/smoothie, or I can put the link below, you'll have access to see that smoothie recipe. Number 8, chew your food. Last but not least, all of this food that you're eating, it's only going to get digested as good as your digestive process is. So if you're just somebody who takes a bite of food and then you, hopefully not a Coke, but I've seen it, you wash it down with a Coke, like you chew it, wash it down, chew it, or just put it in your mouth. You're not even chewing it, you're just washing it down. You're going to have some GI issues. You're going to have heartburn, you're going to have indigestion, you may even have undigested food in your stools. So chew your food. Now I've heard a lot of people say 20 to 30 times. I've counted, it's kind of exhausting to count 30 to 40 times. It gets old real quick. So a general frame of reference is that you want to chew your food so much that it basically dissolves in your mouth. So you're going to have some good enzymes that are going to come out here. They're going to break down your food. If you remember back in school when they talked about the digestive process starts in the mouth with the saliva. It does. It starts breaking that food down. So definitely chew your food real good. I promise it's going to help you to digest everything better. I know that steak is so good and you want to get to that next bite, but chew the bite that you have in your mouth first before you put the next one in your mouth. All right, so this is a good summary here. Fruit in moderation, get your good pink salts, meat variety, get your bone broth, make it or buy it. Kombucha, moderation, good probiotics in there. Dark chocolate, less is more. Smart snacks, your meat bars, your jerky, nuts, shakes. Get your good collagen, colostrum, cinnamon, things like that. Organic blueberries. Chew your food 20 to 30 times. That's Nutrition 201. This is Evan Brand signing out. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel here. I know a lot of you are coming from the podcast. Thanks for your support. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you want to talk about this and get even more dialed in for your health symptoms or your health goals, click below or on screen here. Schedule a free consult with me. I will talk to you on the phone at no charge. We'll talk about how we can get you straightened out and getting you the results that you want in a sustainable manner. Take care. Bye.